So, I'm standing there at my sister's ridiculously over-the-top engagement party. Her fiancé, Mark, is in the middle of this sappy, gushing speech about honesty and finding his one true soulmate. The whole room is practically in tears. And that's when I stood up, cleared my throat, and with the fakest, sweetest smile I could manage, I just asked a simple, innocent question. Mark, that's beautiful. But have you ever met Liam? Let me tell you, you could have heard a pin drop on the shag carpet. The look on my sister's face? Pure, unadulterated horror. It was worth $1 million. And yes, Liam was standing right there at the back of the room, holding a gift. Let's back this train wreck up. You need the whole story. My sister, Jessica, and I are what you'd call polar opposites. She's 2 years older, the homecoming queen, the sorority president, the golden child who could do no wrong. I'm Chloe, the younger sister. The quieter one, the one with a stable but boring job in accounting, the one who preferred a good book over a loud party. And, according to Jessica, the one who was destined to die alone, surrounded by a legion of cats. For years, my relationship status, or lack thereof, was her favorite dinner party joke. It was her go-to weapon in any argument. If I disagreed with her on something, she'd say, "Well, what would you know about compromise, Chloe? You've never had to share your life with anyone." If I was tired, she'd sigh dramatically and say, "It must be so exhausting having no one to come home to." My parents, bless their hearts, were her biggest enablers. They thought Jessica's digs were just teasing. "Oh, that's just Jess being Jess," my mom would say with a wave of her hand. "She's just trying to encourage you to put yourself out there more, honey." Encourage me? It felt more like being publicly shamed for not living my life on her timeline. The real trouble started about a year ago, at Thanksgiving. Jessica brought home Mark. And Mark was perfect. He was a resident surgeon, handsome, kind, remembered my dad's favorite brand of scotch, and listened intently when my mom talked about her garden club drama. He was a unicorn. And Jessica paraded him around like a prize she'd won at the state fair. The entire dinner was a masterclass in passive aggression. "Mark and I are thinking of a destination wedding," Jessica announced to the whole table. "Maybe Italy. Chloe, maybe you can find a date by then? We'd need an even number for the tables, you know." She laughed, a high-pitched tinkling sound that made my teeth ache. Mark looked a little uncomfortable but smiled politely. My parents just beamed. Later, while clearing the table, she cornered me in the kitchen. "You know, I'm really worried about you," she said, her voice dripping with fake concern. "All of my friends are getting married, and you can't even get a guy to look at you twice. It's just sad." I felt that familiar hot spike of anger. "I'm perfectly happy, Jessica. I'm focusing on my career." She patted my arm condescendingly. "Sure you are, sweetie. Whatever helps you sleep at night." That was the baseline. A constant, simmering pot of condescension and mockery. But then, things escalated. About 6 months after that Thanksgiving, I was out with a few friends from work. We decided to try a new bar, a cool little dive place in a part of town I never go to. We're sitting there, laughing about our boss, when I look towards the small stage where a live band is playing. And I see her. It was Jessica. But it wasn't the polished, preppy Jessica who was dating a surgeon. This Jessica was wearing a ripped band t-shirt and was draped all over the lead singer. And I mean draped. They were in their own little world, hands everywhere, kissing between verses. He was the complete opposite of Mark, long hair, tattoos, a rugged, artsy vibe. I felt like my brain short-circuited. I stood up, my half-finished drink forgotten. I had to be seeing things. As I took a step closer, she turned her head and our eyes met across the crowded room. Panic flashed across her face. It was the look of a cornered animal. She grabbed the musician's arm, whispered something frantic in his ear, and literally bolted for the back door, dragging him behind her. They were gone in seconds. My friends were staring at me. "Was that your sister?" one of them asked. I don't think so," I stammered, my heart pounding. But I knew it was. The next morning, my phone rang. It was Jessica. Her voice was ice. "What were you doing there last night?" she hissed. No hello, no preamble. What was I doing? "I was having a drink with friends." "What the hell were you doing, Jess?" "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, her voice dangerously calm. "That wasn't me. You need to get your eyes checked." And you need to stop being so obsessed with my life. It's pathetic. She was gaslighting me, denying something I saw with my own two eyes. Before I could even respond, she hung up. I was left staring at my phone, my mind reeling. Who was that guy? And what was going on? The next major incident was on my birthday. My parents insisted on a family dinner at their place. Of course, Jessica and Mark were there. I was already dreading it, but I plastered on a smile and tried to be civil. Then came the presents. My parents got me a nice gift card to my favorite bookstore. Then Jessica slid a brightly wrapped box across the table. "Happy birthday, sis," she said, her smile wide and predatory. I opened it. Inside was a book titled Party of One: The Art of Being Single and Fabulous. Tucked inside the book was a gift receipt for a 6-month premium subscription to a dating app. The silence was deafening. Mark looked mortified. He just stared at his plate. My mom and dad, however, burst out laughing. "Oh, Jessica, you're so funny," my dad chuckled. "That's a good one." My mom chimed in, "She's just trying to help, Chloe. She wants you to be happy." I felt a cold, hollow feeling in my chest. It wasn't even anger anymore. It was a profound sense of loneliness. I was sitting at a table with my family, and I had never felt more alone in my entire life. I looked at Jessica, who was smirking at me, enjoying her little show. I just pushed my chair back, mumbled something about not feeling well, and left. I cried the whole way home. That night, something inside me snapped. This wasn't just teasing anymore. This was cruel. And the gaslighting about the guy at the bar, it was all connected. So, I did something I'm not proud of. I started digging. It wasn't hard. I just had to remember what the band t-shirt said. A quick search brought up a local indie band. Their social media page was full of pictures. And there he was. The lead singer. His name was Liam. I scrolled through his feed, my stomach twisting into knots. And then I found it. A picture from a few months back. Liam and Jessica, arm in arm, smiling. The caption read, "Best weekend away with my girl." The picture was tagged by one of his bandmates. I clicked on the tag. And there it was. A whole hidden world. Dozens of pictures of Jessica and Liam. At his gigs. On a camping trip. Kissing at a house party. She was living a complete double life. I cross-referenced the dates with my own memory. The camping trip? That was the weekend she told us all she was at a work conference in the city. The night I saw her at the bar? Mark thought she was at a yoga retreat. The lies were so intricate, so detailed. She had 2 phones. A whole separate group of friends. She was playing 2 completely different, devoted men at the same time. And she had the audacity to call me sad and pathetic? The rage I felt was so pure, so clarifying. All the years of being belittled, of being the butt of the joke, it all came to a head. But I didn't know what to do. Tell Mark? He'd be devastated. Confront Jessica again? She'd just lie and twist it back on me. So I sat on the information, this toxic secret burning a hole in my pocket, and I waited. I didn't have to wait long. A month later, Jessica called me, screaming with excitement. He did it. He proposed. Mark had proposed. And she had said yes. My blood ran cold. "Wow, Jess. Congratulations. I want you to be my maid of honor, obviously," she chirped. "We're having an engagement party in 6 weeks at the Willows. Mom is already booking it. I'm sending you a Pinterest board. I expect you to handle the invitations and the cake." She was going to marry Mark while still seeing Liam. This wasn't just a game anymore. She was about to destroy a good man's life, and she was going to do it with a smile on her face. That was it. That was the breaking point. The final straw didn't just break the camel's back, it nuked it from orbit. I tried one last time to appeal to her conscience. I drove to her apartment, the one Mark paid for, and confronted her privately. "You can't marry him, Jessica," I said, my voice shaking. "I know about Liam. I know everything." I expected her to deny it, to scream, to cry. But she did something much, much worse. She laughed. A cold, dismissive laugh. "Oh, Chloe," she said, shaking her head as if I were a child. "You are just so hopelessly naive. And you're so jealous. It's written all over your face." She leaned in, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "You're jealous because I have 2 amazing, hot men who are obsessed with me, and you can't even get one. It's not my fault I'm desirable and you're not. I was speechless. Look, she continued, waving a perfectly manicured hand. It's simple. Mark is the future. He's stable, he'll be a great provider, he gives me a beautiful home. He's the smart bet. Liam. Liam is for fun. He's exciting, he's passionate. A girl needs both, you know. The sheer, unadulterated narcissism of it all took my breath away. So you're just going to throw Liam away? And lie to Mark for the rest of your life? Liam will get over it. And what Mark doesn't know won't hurt him, she said with a shrug. Now, stop worrying your lonely little head about my life. It's frankly embarrassing. Just focus on planning the party and try to look happy for me for once. You owe me that. She owed her. I walked out of that apartment a different person. The Chloe who always took the high road, who turned the other cheek, was gone. In her place was a woman with a plan. A very, very simple plan. If Jessica wanted to be the star of a show, I was going to give her the audience she deserved. The next 6 weeks were a blur of party planning. I was the perfect maid of honor. I answered every frantic call, tasted every cake sample, approved every flower arrangement. Jessica was in heaven, thinking I had finally accepted my place as her loyal, single sidekick. She had no idea I was building a stage. I did more research. I found out Liam's band had a gig on the night of the engagement party, but it ended at 8:30 p.m. The party venue was only a 20-minute drive from the bar they were playing at. The timing was perfect. The day of the party, I downloaded a burner app that gave me a temporary phone number. At 8:40 p.m., I sent a single text to Liam. Jessica has a huge surprise for you. Come to the Willows at 9:15. It's important. She wants you here. I knew from his social media that he was impulsive and passionate. The idea of a huge surprise from the woman he thought was his serious girlfriend would be irresistible. I also knew he didn't know where Mark lived or anything about her other life, so he wouldn't be suspicious of the venue. Then I got ready for the party. The hall was beautiful. My parents had gone all out. String lights, a string quartet, a champagne fountain. It was packed with my parents' friends, Jessica's sorority sisters, and, most importantly, Mark's entire family. His parents, his siblings, his grandparents. All of them beaming at the happy couple. Jessica was glowing, floating around in a white designer dress that probably cost more than my car. She was holding court, telling some dramatic story, lapping up the attention. At 9 p.m., Mark tapped a glass for a toast. He got up on the small stage where the DJ was set up, a huge projection screen behind him showing a slideshow of his and Jessica's smiling faces. His speech was everything you'd expect. Sweet, heartfelt, and utterly clueless. He talked about her kindness, her spirit, and above all, her honesty. She's the most genuine, loyal person I've ever met, he said, his eyes misty. Knowing I get to spend the rest of my life with my one true soulmate is the greatest gift I could ever imagine. It was so ironic it was almost painful. As he wrapped up to thunderous applause, I made my move. I'd like to say a few words. I called out, making my way to the stage. Jessica beamed at me, probably expecting a gushing tribute. She handed me the microphone. I took a deep breath. Thank you, Mark. That was beautiful. And you're so right. My sister Jessica, she has so much love to give. I paused, scanning the room. So much love, in fact, that she can't possibly limit it to just one person. A few confused murmurs rippled through the crowd. Jessica's smile tightened. And right on cue, the double doors at the back of the hall opened. In walked Liam. He was still in his gig clothes, holding his guitar case, looking around with a puzzled but excited smile on his face. Then his eyes found the stage. He saw Jessica in her white dress, standing next to Mark, under a banner that read, "Congratulations, Mark and Jessica." His smile vanished. The confusion on his face curdled into dawning, sickening realization. I raised the microphone again, my voice clear and steady, projecting to every corner of the silent room. Everyone, I'd like you to meet Liam. He's been the other man in my sister's life for the past year. A collective gasp went through the room. Jessica's face was a mask of white-hot rage. "Chloe, stop it," she seethed, trying to grab the mic. I sidestepped her. "Liam, I believe you thought you were her serious girlfriend, right? I asked, looking directly at him. The one she spent last weekend with on what Mark thought was a yoga retreat? Liam just stared, his face pale with shock. And then, for the grand finale, I pulled out my phone, connected it to the projector with an adapter I'd brought, and the slideshow of Mark and Jessica was replaced with the highlight reel from Liam's social media. Picture after picture. Jessica and Liam kissing. Jessica and Liam on that camping trip. Jessica and Liam at a party, her arms wrapped around his neck. The proof was undeniable, projected 10 feet high for everyone to see. Total. Utter. Chaos. Jessica let out a shriek like a banshee. Mark looked like he'd been physically struck, his eyes darting from the screen, to Jessica, to Liam, his face ashen. My mom was screaming my name. My dad was trying to push his way to the stage. Mark's parents were staring with their mouths hanging open in horror. I leaned into the microphone one last time, my voice ringing out over the pandemonium. For years, my sister has mocked me for being single. She called me pathetic because I couldn't find one person to love me, while she was secretly juggling too. Well, I have a newsflash for you, Jess. I would rather be single and honest for the rest of my life than be a liar and a cheat like you. So congratulations on the engagement. And then I dropped the mic. The aftermath was exactly as messy as you'd imagine. Mark, in a moment of stunning clarity, walked over to Jessica, looked her dead in the eye, and said, "We're done." Then he and his entire family walked out without a backward glance. Liam had a few choice words for Jessica that I can't repeat here before he, too, turned and left. My parents cornered me, their faces purple with rage. They screamed at me for humiliating the family and ruining my sister's life. I just looked at them and said, she ruined her own life. I just turned on the lights so everyone could see it. And you? You too let it happen. You watched her bully me my whole life, and you never said a word. I went home, packed a bag, and stayed with a friend for 2 weeks. I ignored their calls, their texts, all of it. The fallout was epic. Mark, of course, broke off the engagement permanently and kicked Jessica out of the apartment. She had to move back in with my parents at 28 years old, a pariah among their friends. Everyone knew what she had done. There was no hiding it. She lost both men, her home, and her reputation in one spectacular, fiery crash. My relationship with my parents was frosty for a long time. It took them about 6 months to finally call me and, in their own awkward way, apologize. My mom admitted that they had been blinded by Jessica's sparkle and hadn't realized how cruel she'd been to me. We're working on it. It's not perfect, but it's more honest than it's ever been. As for me, I'm thriving. I got a promotion at work. I've been traveling. I've met some people, gone on some dates, but I'm not in a rush. I'm happy on my own. It turns out, being single isn't a curse. It's a choice. And it's infinitely better than being trapped in a lie. I don't speak to Jessica. From what I hear, she's still miserable, blaming me for all her problems. But for the first time in my life, her opinion doesn't matter. So yeah, that's the story of how my sister's engagement party turned into a 2-for-1 breakup special. It was an absolute dumpster fire, but you know what? I'd do it again in a heartbeat. If you're into stories about family drama and getting the last laugh, you should definitely stick around. Because you haven't even heard what my cousin tried to pull at her wedding. That one's even crazier.